My name is Eric, and I'm 47 years old. Before landing an office job in the city, I used to work as a truck driver for a delivery company. The salary was reasonable, and I mostly enjoyed the job, but there were also tough moments. It was 2012, and I had graduated from college 2 years prior. On a Wednesday, I was working from 11 in the morning until 7 in the evening. We were in the midst of winter, so it got dark around 5:30 in the afternoon. I lived in a not-so-great part of a small town that wasn't very safe. The housing situation in my town was odd, with some blocks having scattered houses and shacks spaced far apart. Other blocks were completely uninhabited, resulting in fewer deliveries for me, as the houses were so spread out. After several hours of deliveries that day, covering 3 different small towns, I started down a street in one of those sparsely populated blocks. It was a street with small houses and shacks widely spaced on one side, and on the other side, there was a forest. It was a little past 6, and my shift was ending with only a few deliveries left. There was a small, isolated house on that street, more of a shack, and the package required a signature, so I couldn't just leave it on the porch. I parked in front of the house, went to the back of the truck, and grabbed the largest and heaviest box of the day. It sounded like metal pieces clashing inside the box, numerous pieces. I couldn't fathom what was in it, but my job was simply to leave the box at the front door, and that's exactly what I did. There was no doorbell, so I had to knock. However, I didn't see any lights on inside, and there was no parked car either, so I was hoping someone was home. I knocked a few more times, and then I saw the curtain of one of the windows move, and I heard footsteps approaching the door. Then there was a long, suspiciously unnecessary pause until the person finally opened the door. An older woman peered out with a somewhat paranoid expression. When I told her I had a package for her to sign, she reluctantly opened the door fully. She seemed uneasy as she signed, and the signature was quite sloppy. She told me I needed to help carry the box to her room, and given her frail appearance, I was somewhat expecting her to ask for assistance. The moment I entered that house, I caught a whiff of a strong odor. Every house has a distinct smell, whether good or bad, and this house's smell was terrible, and I couldn't pinpoint the cause. She guided me to the back of the house, behind the small living room. She led me down a narrow hallway, where I struggled to maneuver the box, and then she took me to a door. She opened the door and told me to put the box inside the cabinet at the back of the room. I asked her to turn on the light. She claimed the light was broken. The room was almost completely dark, with the only light source being from the living room, casting a faint glow into the room. I could barely see enough to navigate with the box. As I entered the room, being cautious and straining my eyes to see, I was halfway through when, in the darkness, I saw a person standing inside the cabinet. I was certain it was a person, judging by the silhouette. And I saw this person moving in the corner of the cabinet. There was no logical explanation for this. The person was clearly trying to hide from me, waiting for me to approach. With adrenaline coursing through my body, I quickly placed the box on the floor and started walking swiftly out of the room. I passed by the woman saying, "Have a great night." She began to scream, asking me to come back and help. I didn't know what that woman and the person in the cabinet were planning, and I didn't want to stick around to find out. I wasn't going to risk my life for someone I didn't know. I finished my shift that day, went home, and immediately the next day, I began my search for a better and safer job. In the video description, there are links to horror and thriller books in case you want to buy. And if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe.